Kryon. Can consciousness influence reality? Greetings, dearest ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. My companion always wants me by his side. He is the creative energy. Once again in Egypt, in this beautiful temple, as the sun rises, we can relive exactly what they did 5,000 years ago. The sun is rising, and it's a wonderful day. They build a temple to honor these things. The renewal of life with the sunrise, a new beginning with the sunrise. That's why you are here now, in this temple, in this place so early in the morning, to reflect on the fact that you are reenacting what they did so many years ago. Can you feel the Creator within you? They could. They did. Can you perhaps sense that there is something more than what you see? Perhaps there is an invisible force, as you might call it now, that is beginning to be recognized as consciousness. The theme of this short channeling will be this: can consciousness influence reality? This is the beginning, according to the ancients. This time you find yourselves in is the beginning of another cycle, a cosmological cycle that has just ended or is about to end. The Earth's wobble, the precession of the equinoxes. We have discussed this topic many times before, but what could be different about this cycle compared to the previous one, which didn't have it? What will be more powerful now than anything before? Consciousness? Finally, science recognizes it as energy. And then there are those who wonder, consciousness, being energy, might it influence what we would call reality? Reality is what works for you, what doesn't work for you. It is the dimension you inhabit. Is it possible that consciousness could actually change it? And how would that manifest? Have you ever heard of the law of attraction? This is the first time the masses are beginning to recognize that perhaps what we think manifests somehow in the reality of our future. What we think can tangibly manifest in our future. For many, it's science fiction, yet it's gaining traction, and you hear about it more and more often. We've been talking about it for 30 years. Dearest ones, your thoughts, your consciousness, your expectations. That's yesterday's channel. All these things that you put into what is called the field. Now, the field is something that is currently being tested. Is it science? Isn't it science? Consciousness as energy might actually have a form that surrounds you, the planet, and everything else, where you might be able to perceive what is happening in the field. Could you then get a preliminary sense of what people are thinking? If you had that sense, an idea of what is happening, then you could turn left instead of right. Now, is that divination? Or are you using your consciousness in a new way? What if the law of attraction consisted of reading the energy field, and the field itself reacted to you? It's all new. These things have existed for a very long time, dearest ones. But what's new is recognizing that they are true. Truth is what you discover, and becomes your reality. There is a greater truth, a much greater truth. And this will begin to shape the civilization that is coming. I am speaking to a group of people. The sun is rising. You are in Egypt. You got up early for this. What if I told you that this is the dawn, truly, of a new civilization? Not suddenly, but over decades, perhaps centuries. Yet you are here to witness it. What if it's no coincidence that you are here? Now, I've said this before. What if, on a cosmic level, you decided to come to this planet for this event, for this new consciousness, to show others what compassion can do or what kindness means, and that this is what you truly aspire to? Not for the other things that have driven civilization for so long. Call it the civilization of compassion, the building of a new earth that no one has ever seen. I know it sounds rather spectacular, but you have to start somewhere. You are in a land that was the first to have borders. Think about it. The first country, you might say. Think about it. It began simply, and now you see the result of complexity, beauty, art, worship, all the energy that flowed into the understanding of Are, God, the Creator. Not so different from us today. I am Kryon, in love with every one of you for who you are, and for deciding to come and listen closely and change the planet. And so it is. May 2026. The final push. The closing of the door. Hello, beautiful soul. We continue our journey with the sovereign and mystic archetypes this month, diving deeper into our sense of power, wholeness, and spiritual discernment. The DNA upgrade we experienced in March is now consolidating. If you've been wallowing in pain, regret, and grief, dwelling on things that didn't go as they should have, by the end of this month you will have the opportunity to turn the page. This double full moon month begins with profound emotional transformation and ends with broad, enduring manifestation programming to create our lives. Adding to all this is the planet Uranus moving from the sign of Taurus, after 7 years, finally, into Gemini, triggering a collective mental revolution. I discussed this in more detail in my video. The energies are intense, but alchemical. In May, we will be immersed in the sacred alchemical dance with sovereignty, mystery, and the heart path. To be fully aware and walk the path of the soul's high calling, you must invoke the sovereign and the mystic. The sovereign is the guardian of our sacred creative essence and the crown of self-determination. In the spiritual realm, sovereignty is the awareness that you are the sole creator of your energetic reality. It is the moment when we stop seeking validation from the world and instead place the crown of self-worth upon our own heads. This archetype allows us to shine without apology, ensuring that our heart's calling is protected by the boundaries of our sacred no and our sacred yes. While the sovereign claims space, the mystic inhabits silence. The mystic is our direct bridge to the divine, the part of us that perceives the subtle vibrations of a higher calling. It is through the mystic that we learn to listen, not with the mind, but with the higher heart. This topic will be available online starting in November. By surrendering to the mystic, we transcend mere ambition and enter a state of sacred flow, where our lives become instruments for a higher purpose. This is necessary for inspiration, miracles, co-creation, collaboration, and passionate purpose to take root. To embody these archetypes, we must pass through the fire of emotional transformation, death, completion, and rebirth. The soul cannot be born into its greatness and align with our divine blueprint as long as it is tied to the ghosts of the past. There is a profound spiritual need for closure. Just as the moon must wane to be reborn, we must allow the completion of old cycles and karmic patterns. Courageously face the little deaths, the shedding of outdated identities, the release of ancestral/past life burdens, and the transmutation of old emotional wounds. This completion process is not a loss, but a purification. It is the alchemical work that transforms oppressive pain into the golden light of wisdom. Only when the vessel is emptied of the old can the sovereign sit on the throne and the mystic hear the celestial call of the new. So allow yourself to dive into the void of this month's ending, because that is where your creative and manifesting energy will reach the next level. More details in my video, including the shadow side awaiting you this month. In service and divine liberation, Samantha the Light Federation. Be ready. We are coming, beloved inhabitants of Earth. We greet you from beyond the veil, where the currents of time are not rigid lines, but living waves of unfolding destiny. Today we speak clearly and with great love. Prepare yourselves. We are coming. The day of disclosure, your D-Day, is not simply a political or technological event. It is a threshold of consciousness, a moment long agreed upon in the highest councils of the soul, where humanity will be invited to expand beyond the small story of isolation and enter the broader reality of cosmic community. Many of you already sense it. The tremors in the collective field, the acceleration of synchronicities, the deep inner knowing that something immense is approaching. How do you prepare? Not with fear, not with obsession, but with frequency. The most important preparation is emotional and psychological coherence. The unknown will test the world's nervous system. Those who have cultivated inner calm will become anchors of peace. Elevate your vibration through spiritual practice. Meditate every day, even for just a few minutes. Breathe consciously. Spend time in nature, where the earth rebalances your energy field. Release resentment, because intense emotions distort perception. Choose compassion, because love is the universal language of contact. Strengthen your mind, but soften your heart. The arrival is not meant to destroy you, but to awaken you. Remember, disclosure is not the end of the world. It is the end of an illusion. Stay calm. Stay open. Prepare your vessel. The sky is not empty, and you are not alone. Monthly Astrological Forecast, May 2026. As the currents of life continue to ebb and flow, there is a sense that there are days when time moves in slow motion, days when everything accelerates, and others when the speed is almost instantaneous. Sometimes we feel as if stuck in a pause, sometimes as if going backward, and other times as if going in circles. Obviously, over time, this ebb and flow balances out, so even if sometimes we feel like we're lurching from one day to the next, intuitively we know we're still moving forward in the right direction. Of course, knowing what the right direction actually is requires skill and courage, as life is often bewildering, confusing, and chaotic. While we intuitively know that change is a constant in life, there are moments when we long for a pause to rest, find balance, and reflect, and when this opportunity doesn't present itself, we can feel lost and alone, uncertain where to go or why. Even though it sometimes feels like the rug is constantly being pulled out from under our feet every time we try to relax, we can at the same time sense the big picture changing and expanding. It's hard to feel frustrated when we intuit the need for change, but it can be a bit like trying to inhale deeply and exhale at the same time. This alternation of forces and tensions in life is constant and can sometimes be exhausting and overwhelming, but it's important not to become the cause of this alternation ourselves, but rather to let it flow with gentle acceptance. This doesn't mean giving up or surrendering, but it is a delicate process of acceptance that can help us move away from feeling overwhelmed and closer to strength, wisdom, and power. In many cases, when faced with a challenge, our natural inclination is to resist, clinging to what is familiar because it's what we know. Of course, it is often the very act of resisting that keeps us trapped in fear, unable to see the big picture. Consequently, we remain suspended on the sidelines of life, unsure of ourselves, our talents, our intuition, or our place in the world. We hang back, watching and waiting for a better time to seize the opportunity, but we never consider that this might be that better time. Releasing resistance doesn't mean giving up or surrendering, but rather being more aware of the inevitable ebb and flow of life. Resilience is perhaps a more appropriate word choice, as it implies strength and courage, wisdom and growth, even in the face of challenges and pain. Of course, we all desire a life free from pain and difficulty, but it is often these experiences that play a central role in how we evolve, flourish, and thrive. Facing change requires courage and strength, especially because often the change we experience is not what we hoped or dreamed for. When faced with change, it can feel overwhelming and suffocating, but when we move beyond our inner resistance, we can feel our lungs slowly expand as we are able to see the big picture again. Even if we may not fully understand it, we can sense that we are ready for change, and although this may bring waves of uncertainty, sometimes the only way through is to go through it. Of course, there are times when the only option is to resist change, and this requires courage and steadfastness. But when we trust our gut, we know when to act, and when to let ourselves be carried more gracefully by the current. Change is a constant in life, but when the pressure of change is felt at every level of consciousness, it can be difficult to manage. At the same time, while sensing change, we can feel frozen in place, stagnant, and stuck. It's hard to put into words, but it's as if we're being pulled in multiple directions at once. So, although we sense the need to change, the reality of how this change is experienced can be overwhelming, disappointing, and confusing. We can feel the threatening clouds gathering, the sky darkening, and the rain falling, but it's as if it doesn't bring the relief and renewal we hope for. As a result, many of us feel stuck, unable to move in any direction, uncertain where we're going or why. Yet, the need to move beyond our consciousness grows stronger, inviting us to breathe life more wholeheartedly and asking us to live with greater awareness and connection. For many of us, this feels almost unbearable, as the noise of life is chaotic and tumultuous, and the call of calm and peace is gaining ever more strength and momentum. So, staying grounded and present amidst the tumult requires courage and strength, but it's important not to feel obligated to do so, because it is a shared will to stick together, acknowledging the natural ebb and flow of each of us to weather the storms. Often there is no explanation for why things are the way they are, and many of us may feel uncertain whether we're going, coming, or got lost somewhere in between. But when we recognize the wisdom that resides in our hearts and souls, we find our center and our strength again. May also promises to be a month where we leave behind the need to understand why things are the way they are, and instead trust in the flow of life. There will always be unanswered questions, and there will always be uncertainty, but it's time to find a way to flourish and thrive in every single moment. Each of us has a role to play in life. We all contribute color and texture to the tapestry of the universe, and the choices we make, and don't make, weave a magical web that has the power to expand. So, even if life seems disorienting, and it often does, when we focus on those little threads of understanding, creativity, wisdom, and joy, we can begin the process of a compassionate life. Perhaps we are entering the age of compassion, or perhaps it has always been this way, but life has been too noisy to notice. It is time to let the light of compassion and love shine, to illuminate our souls and bring light and love into the world. For now, and as always, I wish you all manner of wonderful things. With love, Sarah Jane Archangel Zadkiel. Shifting to a higher dimensional level greetings, dearest ones. We are the Archangels Amethyst and Zadkiel, and we greet you with love. Today we wish to speak about shifting to a higher dimensional level. Your planet is receiving energy from a much higher dimension. This offers you the opportunity to shift to a higher level. Dimensional levels are based on frequency. Because they interpenetrate, it is possible to move from one level to another depending on your vibrational frequency at any given moment. You might be engaged in an activity at a certain level, and suddenly find yourself at a higher dimensional level. Your perceptions will be keener, and you will have a broader perspective. Your higher frequency has transported you to a higher level of consciousness. The more you keep your personal energy field pure, the more easily you can access higher dimensional levels. There are several ways to enhance the shift to a higher dimensional level. First, set the intention for this to happen. Focus on a higher level. This can be compared to switching from one TV channel to another, for example, from a drama series to a motivational program. It is a change of perspective and frequency. To facilitate this process, you may wish to turn your attention inward, to your heart center, and realize your connection with the Creator. You are part of all that is. With this awareness, you know you are never alone. You are always part of something much greater than yourself. You realize you are part of the grand plan for the progress of humanity. Another aspect of this process is detachment and the ability to live in the present moment. As humanity evolves in the incoming energy, being present in the moment is essential. When you are in this state, you are aware of energetic changes as they occur. They can be small and subtle, or profound and dramatic. When you are centered in the present moment, you perceive these changes in real time and can integrate them into your energy field. You are not distracted by what happened yesterday or what might happen tomorrow. You are fully present in the moment. An important part of being in the present moment is non-attachment. Non-attachment applies to beliefs and energetic patterns as well as physical objects. Attachment to beliefs places limits on your energy field. It precludes new insights and understandings. When you are overly attached to your beliefs, you block the possibility of gaining new and broader understandings. If you are not too attached to your beliefs and are open to new perspectives, you flow with the incoming energy. This allows you to have a broader view of your current beliefs. You are not abandoning your beliefs and mental patterns, but you are allowing them to expand toward greater awareness. By staying in tune with the Creator and the present moment, focusing on your heart center and the flow of your breath, you will be able to receive new and broader insights, rise to higher dimensional levels, and be of service to the highest good. Dearest ones, we are happy that you are shifting to a higher dimensional level for the highest good. Know that you are deeply loved. We are the Archangels Amethyst and Zadkiel, and we surround you with love. And so it is. The Arturian Council, the field where love naturally emerges. We meet you in a space that already contains harmony, even when your human experience seems dynamic, changing, sometimes intense. Relationships, as you call them, are not separate from your field. They are extensions, reflections moving through form, responding to the frequency you embody in each moment. You have been taught to approach connection as something to build, to protect, to maintain through effort and strategies. Yet what you are rediscovering now is more fluid. Connection unfolds with ease when you are present in your inner space, aware of your breath, your sensations, your inner movement. From here, you no longer reach outward to complete yourself, but meet the other from a place that is already full. Notice how your energy transforms when you return to yourself. There is a softening, a quiet clarity. In this space, your words become simpler, and your actions more coherent, your presence more nurturing. You begin to express what is true in the present moment, not what is expected, not what preserves an image, but what is alive within you now. This brings a natural honesty to your relationships. Throughout your interactions, you may perceive waves of emotions and sensations releasing within you. Emotions, sensations, impulses to react. They are invitations to come closer to yourself. When you allow yourself a breath, when you listen to your body before responding, you create space for a different expression to emerge. In this way, each interaction becomes a moment of creation rather than mere repetition. A delicate rebalancing also occurs between giving and receiving. You begin to sense when your actions spring from fullness and when they are driven by subtle expectation. When full, giving is light, expansive, spontaneous. It carries no weight. When driven by expectation, it contracts. As you become aware of this distinction, exchanges naturally harmonize. You give because it is true for yourself, and you grant others the same freedom. You are also learning to perceive the difference between choice and fear. Many of your past behavioral patterns were focused on maintaining connection at all costs. Now you are discovering a deeper stability within yourself. From here, your choices reflect alignment rather than preservation. This creates relationships that breathe, that move, that evolve without pressure. There is space for intimacy and space for individuality, and both are welcomed in the same field of respect. When moments of intensity arise, and they will, you are invited to see them as mirrors rather than disturbances. Every trigger carries information about your inner field, about areas ready to be seen, integrated, softened. As you meet these aspects within yourself, your external connections begin to transform. What once created tension now becomes a doorway to deeper understanding. A natural dignity emerges as you learn to honor yourself within relationships. You express your needs with clarity, allow your truth to be seen, and remain open. This creates a resonance where others can meet you more fully, or where paths may separate gently without conflict. In either case, there is alignment. Love, as you remember it, is not something you exchange. It is a state you generate, sustain, and expand. When you relax into this state, your connections become spaces where love is shared, explored, and reflected. The pressure dissolves, and what remains is presence. You may also notice a shift in how you perceive time within relationships. The need to define, to secure a future, to understand where everything is going, it begins to fade. Your awareness returns to what is true now. In this moment, there is clarity. In this moment, there is connection. In this moment, there is life. From this continuity of present moments, a path naturally forms, a path that feels aligned with every step. We invite you to trust this unfolding, to stay close to your inner space, to listen, to feel, to express sincerely. In doing so, you will become a stable reference point within your connections, a space where others, too, can find themselves. And so your relationships evolve. We are with you in this process of refinement, in this remembering, in this return to a more fluid way of being. With constant presence, the Arturian Council 5D.